Terminated without warning. Reported them for tax evasion, by user above Quso. I was working a 1,099 position that was bringing in around an extra $3,000 a month. I was able to do this job alongside my full-time job with no issues. I turned in my work on time, I attended all meetings, and even had gotten a great report from one of my clients. My job must have suspected I was doing more than one position, however. They started demanding that I check my email at least once an hour, and even set hours for me as a 1,099 worker. I had to report when I was out of office, whether for injury or something else. I pointed out how I was a 1,099 contractor and that none of those things were a contractual obligation. In fact, the entire reason I took on the extra work with this company was the flexibility. They ignored this and continued to push. A few weeks ago, at nearly midnight, I received a termination email. No phone call. Not even a text message. I went to log on to my computer the next day and saw my credentials were invalid. I reached out to my supervisor and was told to check my personal email, if you even do that, and that was the end of it. I stewed in it a few days before I finally did something. I reported them for mislabeling my position as 1,099 when in fact I should have been a W-2 employee. The IRS has a ton of information on what constitutes 1,099 work and what doesn't, and I met none of the criteria for 1,099 work. They were doing this to avoid paying taxes on their employees, and to avoid having to offer insurance. So, I reported them. I would wager that this is still ongoing for them, as it's only been a few weeks. I'm not excited about potentially putting people out of work, but I'm tired of being fucked over by employers. Edit: I submitted a form to my State Department of Labor and will be calling them tomorrow. Former boss disputed work history 6 months after I left, so I blew up his phone with spam, by user SayonJ222. Few years ago I was working at a corporate job and had a very significant death in the family, my grandfather, that I needed to take time off to go handle. I needed to help with the estate and honestly, just grieve. We were very close. I asked my manager to use emergency PTO and it was denied. I asked to go on FMLA instead and it was also denied, saying that grandparents didn't qualify. I told him I wouldn't be able to come in for at least a couple of weeks while I flew down to Florida to attend the funeral and help with the estate. They told me if I did that, I would be terminated. So, they terminated me and even had the gall to offer me 2 weeks of severance in exchange for signing an NDA, a gag order, and an indemnity clause. Which means I wouldn't be able to sue them. I wouldn't be able to talk smack about them to others or online. You get the idea. Of course, I refused. That conversation took place on August 1st. On my LinkedIn profile, I listed that I worked there from my start date to the beginning of August. The company dated my termination for July 31st. They said they had to do with benefits or something. Fast forward to January. I was up early with my 6-week-old newborn. I got a LinkedIn notification that my former manager viewed my profile. Few minutes later, I got an email from LinkedIn that my employment at that company was being disputed. He disputed the difference between July 31st and August 1st. LinkedIn ignored my dispute of the report and removed the company experience from my profile entirely. Not to mention that when I did repost the experience, it would no longer be verified by LinkedIn because I would have to verify through a company email address, which I no longer had. The absolute gall of this guy. And seriously? You're thinking about me almost 7 months later? So, I found his home address online. I had his personal cell phone number in my phone. And I also found his personal and work email address. I signed him up for as much spam as I possibly could find. Not just that, I went to every moving company and real estate agency in the area asking to be put in contact with an agent saying that I was looking for a house for $800,000 and moving companies to give quotes for a cross-country move. I gave those websites every contact information I had for him. Something that would really excite anyone getting that kind of sales lead. A former coworker in the same department told me that his phone was blowing up for days. Both his work and personal cell. His role was client-facing so he couldn't just ignore phone calls. I don't know if he ever figured out that it was me who did that, but those calls would have started pouring in within an hour of his report to LinkedIn. Screw that guy. Thanks for letting me use your rewards, by user capn_brunched. This will be short and sweet, all I wanted was a bubble tea to get me through an afternoon slump. I walk the 5 minutes from my office to the store and there is a small line ahead of me, which isn't unusual for this area, tourist-heavy city. Standing ahead of me are a gaggle of probably college-age girls talking loudly over each other, and while not directly inconveniencing anyone, they were a tad annoying. I had my headphones in and my sunglasses on still, and they seemed to think I wasn't paying attention. They pay for their drinks and are moving over to the pickup when one of them leans over and says, "Hey, put my phone number in for the points for the next one." And at this point I realize that I am the next one. The girl behind the counter looks uncomfortable about the whole thing, but doesn't say anything as the gaggle walk away to pick up their orders. Now I don't drink bubble teas often enough to rack up rewards points, but they add up to a $5 discount when you get enough, and I was a bit grumpy over the audacity of these girls to just enter their phone number for someone else's order. I am getting ready to ask the girl behind the counter to clear the screen so I could enter my own phone number when I see that there is a little button for $5 on the account. I don't know if their last order got them the reward or if they already had one, but the second I saw that button I realized what I had to do. I push the button and the girl behind the counter sees the notification, and then just smiles and processes the order. Now I didn't really have to do this, and it might have been a little over the top, but I put the biggest smile on my face and walked over to the pickup and said, "Hey, thanks for letting me use that reward, that was very kind of you to pay it forward." The shock on their faces put a smile on mine for my walk back to work. I tattled to their moms, by user Sailor Pluto 423. When I was working as a server, some people I knew vaguely decided to dine and dash at the restaurant I worked at. High school friends of friends, it wasn't my table, but I was close with the server. Some restaurants make servers pay for walkouts for not paying enough attention to their tables. When anybody I vaguely know walks into an establishment I work at, I always clock it and avoid them. The town we live in is not a small city in Michigan, but I've gone to 3 different school districts, so the chances of me running into someone I know is very high. Bonus points if I'm friends on Facebook with them. But since they decided to dine and dash, I quickly went to Facebook and looked them up. Then I messaged them and said, "Hey, I know you dine and dashed. You need to come back and pay for your meal." But when they left me on read, I found their moms and messaged them. Their moms thanked me for letting them know. I don't really remember if the bill ended up getting taken care of because it was so long ago, but I do remember giving my server friend the validation of knowing I tattled to their moms. Edit 2, it was a bill for 4 people, so around like 60 to 70 USD. Edit, Ty, for all the love, I didn't expect so many people to have seen or commented on this. I was also reminded today that it's not the only time I've tattled to moms about their kids that dine and dashed. I did it at another restaurant as well, and one of the moms came up there and paid the bill. Facebook is the mom's social media, and if I know you, I will be able to find your mom in less than 5 minutes. Scammed for $20, so I ruined her week, by user Wild Memoir. A few years ago freshly 18, was looking for a lash kit. Found a seller on Facebook Market WA Beauty Professional page. The page was kinda dead, no posts, very few followers, but old, and used her real, very unique name, which felt reassuring. She said she had just one kit and wasn't a regular seller. I asked why. She said she bought it for a class she missed, so now was reselling. Fair enough. I asked 3 more times if the kit was brand new. She swore it was. We met at a mall. I was running errands, hands full, so I trusted her and didn't check the kit. Dumb move. Got home, some pieces were dirty, others missing. I was shocked, but mostly offended about being scammed by such a dumb, lazy person. Like, FFS, at least try. Clean your sh*t and make it look new so no one finds out. I told myself it was just $20, to forget about it. But I couldn't see it wasn't about the money, it was about being evil, lying and not even being able to do so. Care. Someone could have bought her stupid used kit, but no, she had to go full sleazebag. I started digging the likes and followers from the page from where she had sold me the kit, found her real profile and saved it. I messaged her page with photos of the dirty/missing stuff, still hoping this was a dumb mix-up. She hit me with no, it's new, without bothering to address the literal proof I sent, and then blocked me. Cool. Now I don't feel bad for what I'm about to do. I'm very good at stalking. It's a skill I try not to use. I tend to go into rabbit holes and it's unhealthy, but now? I started from her personal profile that I had saved. I even found out the husband had a kid from a previous marriage who went NC, and I think I know why. Comparing the dates his and scammer's kids were born and the date he got divorced from his first wife, the math wasn't mathing, equim. Next day, I commented screenshots of our convo under her closest relatives' posts, Is X your family member? She scammed me for 20 sad bucks. Are these the family values? I needed her to know I wasn't playing BC then. I messaged her real profile like, "Hi, remember me? The girl you scammed." Apparently she was a cosmetologist, so I dragged her for selling a dirty kit, knowing these substances go near the eye and that could go so badly. I said if she didn't return the money, I'd blast her info everywhere, her 5 Facebook profiles, 3 Instagram accounts, yeah, she had that many, her and her husband's IDs, phone numbers, car model, license plate, taxpayer numbers, workplaces, names of closest relatives, you name it, on every FB group she used for business. She did this a lot, and would send it to the guy's ex and stepkid too. She called me immediately, nervous, still denying everything, begged me to meet and fix it. Her husband sent angry voice notes threatening to sue. Yeah, right. Over 20 bucks. I agreed, meeting W the scammer again the next day. She showed up late, brought some angry teen girl, niece maybe, looking daggers at me, and a huge, muscular dude who I thought was supposed to intimidate me but was actually the nicest. I got my money, deleted the comments, blocked her 5 profiles, and peaced out. Justice served.